At 2:17 in the morning, the city outside my window was still awake. Cars moved endlessly through the streets. Notifications kept flashing on people's phones. Somewhere, groups of friends were laughing loudly in cafes, posting pictures that looked perfect online. And there I was, sitting completely alone in silence. No music, no TV, no messages to reply to. Just a dim yellow lamp beside me and a notebook filled with thoughts I never told anyone. People always thought I was strange. Some called me too quiet. Others said, "You've changed so much." A few even believed I had an attitude problem. But the truth was something nobody ever understood about me. I never hated people. I just got tired of noise. You see, intelligent people experience the world differently. While others enjoy constant distraction, overthinking minds absorb everything deeply. Words, facial expressions, fake smiles, hidden intentions, awkward silences, even the energy in a room. And after some time, being alone starts feeling safer than being surrounded by people who slowly drain your soul. But nobody talks about how painful that transformation really is. I wasn't always like this. Years ago, I loved being around people. I laughed loudly. I replied instantly to every message. I attended every gathering, every birthday, every late night hangout. I wanted connection. I wanted friendship. I wanted to feel important in someone's life. But life slowly started teaching me lessons intelligent people learn earlier than others. And one specific night changed me forever. It was my birthday. I invited 12 people. 12! I cleaned my apartment for hours, ordered food I honestly couldn't afford, decorated the room with cheap fairy lights because I wanted the night to feel warm and special. I kept checking the clock again and again. 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Only one person came, and even she left after 20 minutes, saying she suddenly had other plans. That night, while throwing away untouched food and staring at my melted birthday cake alone, I realized something that broke me inside. Most people only stay around you when you entertain them, not when they truly value you. That sentence stayed in my head for months. After that night, I slowly became quieter, not because I was weak, because I started observing people more carefully. And the more I observed, the more silence became comfortable. I noticed how shallow conversations had become. Nobody really listens anymore. People only wait for their turn to speak. I noticed fake concern. "How are you?" became nothing more than a habit people say without caring about the answer. I noticed how society rewards loud people more than thoughtful people. The deepest minds are often ignored, while the noisiest voices receive attention. And slowly, I started disappearing emotionally from the world. I stopped forcing conversations, stopped explaining myself, stopped chasing people who never truly cared if I stayed or left. At first, loneliness felt horrible. The silence was heavy. Some nights I stared at my ceiling for hours, wondering if something was wrong with me. Why did crowds exhaust me so much? Why did shallow conversations feel unbearable? Why did I feel more peaceful alone than in rooms full of people? Then one night, I came across a psychological study that changed everything. It explained that highly intelligent people often prefer solitude because their minds process emotions and information more deeply than average people. Meaning, what feels normal to others feels emotionally exhausting to them. Suddenly, my entire life made sense. Intelligent people don't avoid people because they think they're better than everyone. They avoid constant social interaction because their minds never stop analyzing. Every fake smile gets noticed. Every hidden jealousy becomes visible. Every forced conversation feels emotionally draining. And the saddest part, most intelligent people spend their lives feeling misunderstood. That realization changed me. I stopped pretending to fit into places where my soul felt uncomfortable. And for the first time in my life, I started understanding myself. I began spending evenings alone reading books while everyone else chased attention online. I started taking long walks without headphones just to hear my own thoughts clearly. And slowly, I learned something powerful. Loneliness and solitude are not the same thing. Loneliness is when you feel abandoned by people. Solitude is when you finally connected to yourself. That's why intelligent people often choose solitude, because peace becomes more valuable than popularity. But society hates people who enjoy being alone. Have you noticed that? The moment a person becomes quiet, everyone assumes they're depressed, arrogant, antisocial, or emotionally broken. Nobody considers the possibility that maybe they simply found peace away from chaos. Even my family became worried about me. You stay alone too much. You should go out more. You're becoming emotionally cold. But they misunderstood me completely. I wasn't becoming cold. I was becoming selective. And there's a huge difference between those two things. Intelligent people become selective because experience teaches them something painful. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Some people only bring drama. Some only call when they need help. Some secretly compete with you while pretending to support you. And intelligent minds notice these patterns very quickly. One evening, I met an old friend after almost 4 years. For 2 straight hours, she talked about followers, money, parties, relationships, and expensive things. But she never once asked how I was doing. Not once. And when we finally said goodbye, she laughed softly and said, "You've become so boring." I smiled politely and walked away. But inside, I realized something important. The world calls you boring the moment you stop entertaining meaningless energy. That night, I sat alone on my balcony watching the empty streets below, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel lonely. I felt free. Because intelligent people eventually understand something most humans never realize. Being alone is far less painful than being surrounded by people who make you feel alone. That realization changes everything. And maybe that's why some of the smartest people in history preferred silence and solitude. Because silence sharpens the mind, distance reveals truth, and loneliness sometimes becomes the place where a person finally meets themselves for the first time. But I still had no idea that my biggest lesson about human psychology was yet to come. A lesson that would completely change the way I saw friendship, love, and people forever. And what happened next, honestly, shocked even me. If you felt connected to this story, then subscribe now, because somewhere out there, millions of quiet people are silently fighting battles nobody can see. Like this video, share it with someone who hides their pain behind silence. And remember, sometimes the people who spend the most time alone are the ones who understand the world deepest. A few weeks after that night on the balcony, I stopped expecting people to understand me. And strangely, that's when I finally started seeing people clearly. Before that, I used to believe that if you loved people genuinely, they would eventually love you the same way. I believed loyalty naturally created loyalty, effort created effort, care created care. But life has a cruel way of teaching intelligent people one painful truth. Not everyone has the same heart as you. Some people only know how to receive, not give. And once you realize that, your entire personality changes. I remember one rainy evening when I was sitting alone in a small cafe near my apartment. The place was crowded with people talking loudly, laughing, taking selfies, pretending to enjoy every second. And in the middle of all that noise, I noticed an elderly woman sitting alone by the window. No phone, no company, just quietly drinking tea while watching the rain. For some reason, I couldn't stop looking at her. She looked peaceful, not lonely, peaceful. And that confused me, because society teaches us that being alone is sad, that silence means something is wrong with you, that if you don't constantly socialize, party, or stay surrounded by people, you must be broken somehow. But deep down, intelligent people slowly discover something most humans never understand. Real peace rarely comes from crowds. It comes from clarity. And clarity is impossible when your mind is constantly surrounded by noise. That night in the cafe, I started thinking about my old friendships, and suddenly I realized something painful. Most of them were built on convenience, not connection. People loved my presence when I made them feel good, when I listened to their problems, when I supported them emotionally, when I stayed available. But the moment I became quieter, the moment I stopped chasing, almost everyone disappeared. That's the harsh reality intelligent people eventually face. The world celebrates you when you entertain it, but the world becomes uncomfortable the moment you begin protecting your peace. And honestly, that hurts, because intelligent people usually love deeply. They overthink deeply. They care deeply. And that's exactly why betrayal affects them differently. Small disappointments become emotional scars. Fake friendships become unforgettable lessons. And after enough cane, their minds naturally begin preferring solitude over disappointment. That's not weakness. That's psychological self-protection. A few days later, I received a message from an old friend named Sana. We hadn't spoken in almost a year. Her message simply said, "I miss the old you." I stared at those words for a long time, because people always say they miss the old you when the new you stops tolerating disrespect. The old me was always available, always forgiving, always understanding. The new me had boundaries, and people hate boundaries when they benefited from your lack of them. I didn't reply immediately. Instead, I asked myself a question that changed everything. Why do intelligent people often end up alone? And the answer slowly became clear. Because they crave depth in a world addicted to distraction. Most conversations today are temporary, surface level, empty. People discuss trends, gossip, drama, appearances, but intelligent minds crave something deeper. Real emotions, real honesty, real connection. They want conversations that touch the soul, not just fill silence. And when they fail to find that, they start enjoying their own company more than fake companionship. That's why many highly intelligent people become emotionally distant over time. Not because they hate humanity, but because shallow interactions exhaust them mentally. I noticed this happening to me slowly. Every time I forced myself into loud social situations, I returned home emotionally drained. Even simple conversations felt tiring sometimes. Not because I disliked people, but because my brain never stopped analyzing everything: their tone, their intentions, their hidden insecurities, their fake enthusiasm. Intelligent minds often observe more than they speak, and honestly, that can become exhausting. One night, I met my cousin at a family gathering. The room was full of people pretending to enjoy each other while secretly judging one another. And in the middle of dinner, my cousin suddenly asked me loudly, "Why are you always alone these days? Don't you get lonely?" Everyone at the table looked at me, waiting for an answer. And for a moment, I almost gave the usual fake smile. But something inside me finally snapped. So I quietly said, "I feel more alone around fake people than I do by myself." The room became silent. Nobody replied, because deep down, they understood exactly what I meant. That's the uncomfortable truth intelligent people eventually discover. Being physically surrounded by people means nothing if your soul still feels disconnected. And once you experience genuine peace in solitude, you stop begging for attention. You stop forcing connections. You stop chasing validation. That transformation changes you completely. But there's another painful side nobody talks about. The more intelligent and self-aware a person becomes, the harder it becomes for them to find people they truly connect with emotionally, because they stop getting attached to appearances. They stop being impressed by popularity. They stop caring about fake charm. Instead, they begin searching for emotional intelligence, honesty, depth, loyalty, peace. And sadly, those qualities are rare. That's why many highly intelligent people spend years alone, not because nobody wants them, but because very few people truly understand them. And honestly, that kind of loneliness feels different. It's not dramatic, it's quiet, like sitting beside people while feeling emotionally invisible, like craving one real conversation in a world of meaningless noise, like realizing your soul has outgrown environments your body still visits. That feeling changed me forever. I started enjoying simple things more: reading quietly at midnight, watching rain hit the windows, drinking coffee alone, long walks without explaining myself to anyone. And slowly, I stopped seeing solitude as sadness. I started seeing it as freedom. Freedom from pretending. Freedom from fake friendships. Freedom from constantly shrinking myself just to make others comfortable. And for the first time, I finally felt emotionally safe. But life was about to teach me one final lesson, the most painful lesson of all. Because sometimes the people who understand loneliness the deepest are also the ones who love the hardest. And soon, someone unexpected was about to enter my life. Someone who would make me question everything I thought I understood about solitude, intelligence, and the human heart.